Normally, I would conduct this interview with an individual who has well versed and on the edge, so to speak, about the activities about the greatest lie that has ever been told. And there is one woman. Her name is Barbara Honegger, who has said much of it all. In fact, she said too damn much to too damn many people, which puts her at risk of being offed or exited. I have been shot at, and I have lived. But there is one woman, and we go back a number of years, 30 or so, I believe. Lynn Pence has been around the scenes with a number of individuals and dogs who are trying to enter into this arena. But our subject of today is Barbara Honegger. I met Barbara Honegger through Mae Brussels. Her father was a rabbi and a damn good one. And I'm going to dedicate this film to Mae Brussels. She's long since been removed from this planet. But she, like some of the people in the Jewish right, from Alan Stang to Georgia Gabor to Herb Elfman to Maddie Fain, are in this fight and have been and are in our hearts forever. Lynn, I saw you get on the board when this thing against the exposure against the criminals. This crime is the greatest recorded crime on the history of Earth. Lynn has been in front of the cameras, behind the cameras, sweeping the floors to get everybody moving. Been with Ed Asner and Charlie Sheen has gathered together with some of us, and he's been on board. And I thank you, Charlie, for your efforts. And there's some people on the political left who's been outspoken and upfront. Lynn, Barbara Honegger has been talking not only behind the scenes but up front about a lot of the things that Richard Gage has declined to speak. Maybe he's got reasons. And I think maybe she has reasons, but Barbara has a story. And could you tell us a little bit about what people say about her?
My. Well, as you know, I convened the first citizens' grand jury on the crimes of 9/11, and I was honored to be able to have Barbara be one of the foremost experts presenting the information, cutting-edge information about 9/11 that only she was speaking about. She was a military journalist, at the U.S. Navy School, and Barbara was instrumental in exposing the information that there were war games, and there were
Well,
emergency
wait a minute.
exercisers.
You started to say something. War crimes. War crimes. Yes, there are war crimes against humanity. War crimes against the people of the United States of America. You started this thing right. So let's keep it down to war crimes. Let's talk about war crimes. And Barbara Honegger is going to be talking about those.
Well, it's been amazing. A real leader in the 9/11 truth and justice movement. As I say, she exposed the information, and I'm sure you'll go into detail about that. That there were, war exercises going on in the morning of 9/11, and emergency response exercises that were actually used as the conduits through which the what you call the criminals, the people responsible for 9/11, many of them actually used those in order to be able to set up and
Wait a minute. There was war crimes would be. We're talking about a fellow named Larry. I'm thinking who owned the World Trade Center. Larry Silverstein?
Yes, Larry Silverstein, of course, was the owner of Building 7 and then leased the World Trade Center 1 and 2 up and took possession of it about 6 weeks prior to 9/11 and got an insurance policy, which is what you were
Did he
talking
make any money for
about.
this?
Yes, he made, I think, billions as a result of it.
You mean to, wait a minute? You mean to say that Larry Silverstein earned billions from the death, the murder of all of these people? I mean, there were some Jewish people in the World Trade Center, and some of them were asked to leave before this thing came down. But Larry Silverstein would allow himself to be used? Larry Silverstein?
Well, what we know,
I mean, a man of honor and self-respect and great prominence in the community.
well, what we know is that in order for 9/11 to occur, it was basically a cabal of people both within private industry as well as in the military, as well as in the government, in order for the attacks to occur both on the World Trade Center and at the Pentagon, which Barbara's going to be talking about in depth with you. So Larry Silverstein was integral to allowing the people who set up the controlled demolitions on.
We see great complications in this story, great lies in this story. So many are speaking out and saying everything that validates the lies rather than pointing the finger against the criminals that have conducted this crime.
Well, this is a key thing. If one person was accused, if there was a murder and one person was even accused of the crime, there would be a grand jury investigation. And yet there's never been. There were over 3,000 people who were murdered on 9/11, and yet there has not been one grand jury into the crimes that occurred that actually considered
Wait a minute.
carry off everything that
She's
happened.
saying that the crime has been committed and there's no investigation?
Well, there have been gestures of investigation within the Congress and certainly the 9/11 Commission.
Well, certainly gestures against the people around telling the truth.
Well,
Just gestures.
What I mean by a gesture is that if you have an investigation that doesn't do basic legal investigation, which is to look at who had the actual means, who had the motive and who had the opportunity to pull off all that occurred on 9/11, then you really haven't had a real investigation.
Well, listen,
So,
I
there's never been a
want
grand jury
to
investigation.
take a look here at Barbara Honegger. Do you have some of the things that were written about her?
Yes. Okay. Let's talk about Barbara. Barbara, as I say, Barbara has been a real inspiration to people within the 9/11 Truth Movement because she has been willing to say things and go places that other people have not been able to or willing to. And this latest presentation of her work is called Beyond the Smoke Curtain: What Happened at the Pentagon on 9/11, What Didn't, and Why It Matters.
Well, wait a minute. Behind the smoke curtain, we're talking about behind the golden door, or the I saw one time a porno movie behind the this crime. Are you saying that one little lady is telling the story that grown men fear?
Yes,
And-
absolutely so. If it has to do with the U.S. military involvement in a crime, it seems to be a taboo to discuss. And Barbara Honegger has been willing to go wherever the truth takes us and to ask for truth and accountability. And she happens to know amazing things. For
Well,
example,
ain't-
and
ain't-
linked things, I think, Anthony, linking, for example, that it was an inside job because we know, like at the World Trade Center, bombs went off in the World Trade Center 9 seconds before the first plane hit. Similarly, bombs went off in the Pentagon,
wait a
and she's
minute.
gonna tell
Wait
you
a minute.
about that.
I'm hearing this psychobabble coming from you, dear. I've known you for too long to listen to this crap. Here for just a second. You're telling me that it was recorded, the crime was recorded, and we have evidence that this was done before. I mean, the bombs and all the stuff that went on. Evidence to prove that this was an inside job.
Yes, no question about it.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's your favorite. Absolutely, without question, it was an inside job, and that you can see it was a coordinated effort in New York and at the Pentagon. And as you know, Dick Cheney just was recorded not only in an interview on Fox News, but also in the documentary on his life that on 9/11, the U.S. government shot down a plane on 9/11, and yet the myth lives on. The myth lives on. And so the myth about what happened at the World Trade Center, that it was 19 hijackers in a conspiracy with Osama bin Laden, were able to single-handedly, overtake.
Wait a minute. She's saying that Osama bin Laden wasn't in on this job? I mean, really? Osama bin Laden was in on this? You're saying that this guy has been innocent, and the big guns are going over and firing guns against the Arabs, and they're not behind or complicit in the crime. How about the Israelis? Would they be involved? I'm talking about the Silverstein group. Could it possibly be that some other country was involved in the crime?
Well, I am not going to go into that.
Oh, here we
personally
go.
at this
Oh, here we
point, I
go.
think no. It is not about that. It is this. I think this is an interview that you're going to have with Barbara Honegger, and I don't want to take 1 minute away from the depth and breadth of research and information that you can get from Barbara Honegger.
Well, I'm not going to take away any time and place for Barbara Honegger. I don't want to do that. That's not my intent, but I'm saying that there are other individuals involved in this crime.
Well, we're very clear that the myth of 9/11 is that 19 hijackers overtook, 4 American planes and single-handedly took down the largest military in the world, and was able to not only successfully fly planes into the World Trade Centers 1 and 2, but amazingly, we're just out of putting 2 planes in, we're able to down not only World Trade Center 1 and 2, but let's see, 6, 7, 3, 4. The entire World Trade Center complex was pulverized into dust.
Oh my God! Am I hearing this? I'm being told that it's lies. It's lies. Is Barbara Honegger going to continue to instigate this myth? This myth that that there's been others involved behind the scenes, behind the curtain, so to speak. What are we to believe next, my God?
Well, what we know is up until this last year, the number 1 most wanted man on the planet was who? Osama bin Laden. And yet when we contacted the FBI and we asked them, why is there nothing about 9/11 on the most wanted page of Osama bin Laden, they said clearly, because we have no hard evidence linking Osama bin Laden with 9/11.
Wait a minute. No hard evidence against Osama bin Laden?
I know. So, so what you have is a huge myth. That's my point, an enormous myth. And Barbara will tell you all about that. Let me just go in and share with you some of the things that people have said.
Well, tell me what has been said about this woman. This Wonder Woman. What the hell is she?
People would say, that she is probably the most courageous of the 9/11 investigators, and not just someone like myself. But let me give you a few people.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Let's just say Professor David Ray Griffin, who is the world dean of 9/11 research, authored, I think, almost 30 books, 28 to 30 books about 9/11 investigation. He said this particular...
He talked about the ingredients in the bombs, thermite and what, all of that?
Yes. I mean, definitely, you interviewed Richard Gage of the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and they have thoroughly and in-depth exposed that the World Trade Center the downing of World Trade Center demonstrated all 10 characteristics of a controlled demolition and 0 of the qualities of a building being damaged by the fire from a plane. So that, and that's a whole investigation.
Well, who else is going to join the team and to do this exposure? Who else?
There are amazing organizations, not only Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, but Pilots for 9/11 Truth, politicians, and certainly artists, entertainers, all people across the spectrum, not only in this country but around the world, who have gone on record to say that the evidence about 9/11 is overwhelming, that the official story is simply not true.
Now, there was a gal who came on The View, and she was kissed off and kissed away taken out of the cameras when she started talking about this.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell, right?
Yeah, she spoke about Building 7, a 47-story steel frame concrete building that came down at 5:20 in the afternoon in classic controlled demolition style without being hit by a plane or any appreciable damage. And that information was completely ignored by the Keene-Hamilton Commission.
Oh my God! No, there's no way this could have happened. This has to be an error on your part in reporting, right?
No, it's not an error. As a matter of fact, Barbara and I happened to co-host a presentation at the Press Club in Washington, D.C., the National Press Club, right across the hall from where the Keene-Hamilton luncheon was occurring. And I had occasion at that was on the 5th anniversary of 9/11, and I spoke with them. And
the Keene-Hamilton research group was supposed to come forth with a proper conclusion as to who did it and why and where it was done. Keene and Hamilton, we're talking about the guys around the Council on Foreign Relations, the big boys, the Grovers, the instigators of the expose of this crime by the government. I mean, are we not?
well, the 9/11 Commission was, they said it was not in their mandate to determine who actually was responsible. They came in with the government's official story, and they basically started from there. And that is, they took the official story and just assumed it was true. So they said it was not their mandate. So, it's we, the people, that need to be responsible at this point, because no one has pointed the finger at who actually was able to accomplish all that took place on that day.
Now, she's saying, well, wait a minute, I'm listening. She's saying that they jiggled or came forth with false information. I mean, that they lied. I've had a stroke in about 6 months ago, and but hell, I'm able to understand this, that they lied deliberately and by design.
Absolutely. There were just one little example, and there were well over 100 omissions and distortions, well outlined by David Ray Griffin, among many other people. But one just simple little obvious example is that the structure of the World Trade Center was completely distorted. They said that it was basically empty on the inside, when in fact there were 47 massive steel columns that went right up through the middle, and that was completely ignored. And distorted. So the intention was not to get the truth. The intention of that commission was to basically honor the official story and the myth that was created by.
Oh my God. The official story? They're honoring the lie?
Absolutely.
The greatest lie ever sold. And we've got a resurrection of the story with Barbara Honegger's film. See it here. Behind the smoke curtain. I'm looking at this damn thing. I think the cover is non-dramatic, but I think that maybe this Barbara Honegger has got something to say, and we're going to have an interview with her, and Lynn Pence is going to sit over on the bed while Barbara Honegger is going to have a discussion with me.
Fantastic. fantastic.
Okay.
She'll answer, and is capable of answering many of the questions you've been frustrated that other people simply won't discuss. The who, the why, what happened, what didn't happen, and why. So, who did it?
Oh,
Why?
well,
Who's in
we
a position to do it? So my hope is that out of this, you'll be able to mobilize support for people to demand a real grand jury on the crimes of 9/11. So we get the real perpetrators behind bars.